Introducing their opponents, weighing in at combined with a 419 times. They are the winning and defending Irish Tag Team Champions, Owen Richards, Andy Steele, the Saviours!
Incredible to see the sea of hands, the SOD chants. For the first time, I can say the Saviours of Destiny actually have what could be described as home advantage. They've never had this before because everybody in their own hometown hates them, but that's just not the case anymore. And instead, the fans turn their middle fingers towards the greedy souls coming to us from Wales. It's interesting. I mean, you can see obviously, Andy Steele really enjoying these reactions, and who knows, it could unlock something in both Owen Richards and Andy Steele that we haven't seen before. But after the last match, I mean, you just never know what you're going to get with Saviours of Destiny. You never know what levels they're going to unlock. You never know how much they're going to improve from show to show. It's incredible. And especially after they lose their tag team titles and win them back, it's almost like you see a brand new Saviours every single time. We are starting this with two wrestlers who I think are very, very similar to each other. We're seeing Owen Richards and Brendan White in a battle of the powerhouses. Brendan White doing what he needs to do to get the advantage from the start. Owen Richards taking White off his feet. And again, it's really in these last few months you've seen what Owen Richards can do on his own with his power and his strength. He's been, catching opponents in midair with spears. He's been slamming them full power onto the canvas, but Andy Steele as well. And I'm nervous to make any comments about Andy Steele because really I don't know what I'm going to see here. Am I going to be seeing a fully fit, fully healed Andy Steele? He certainly looks, he looks to be doing fairly well. It may have just been, a sprain or whatever it was in his title victory. But again, it's to come back after a few weeks. Of course, this show has been postponed from a few weeks ago. That may help, it may work in his favour. You see there, even things like that, landing on his feet. Is he good to put all that weight on it? Again, it appears that he is. So the Saviours of Destiny certainly unfazed by any damage they took in their previous match, and already we're seeing the double team maneuvers from the Saviours of Destiny. We're just not seeing it from their greedy souls, and that's the difference. It always has been the difference, even when the Saviours of Destiny got started. The chemistry that Andy Steele and Owen Richards had in fights, where the chemistry was essential to beating their opponents. They've always delivered on that end. So with that chemistry mixed in with the support of the crowd, getting the adrenaline pumping, it's really exciting times if you're a Saviours of Destiny fan, which I never would have said 2 months ago, but it just goes to show how quickly things can change in professional wrestling. A touch of a button. I noticed Brendan White tagged himself in. I don't know if Owen Richards saw the tag. Yeah, he didn't catch the tag, wasn't ready. And Danny Jones doing the smart thing, getting Andy Steele off the ring apron. Just like that, momentum has shifted. I would have thought coming into this that the Greedy Souls would have actually tried to target Andy Steele. Just for the simple fact that, of course, he was banged up in his last fight, but he seems to be finding it alright in there, so he's probably mostly recovered. And I suppose when you think about it, attacking Owen Richards specifically, taking the power and the strength out of the Saviours, that may be the smarter move if you're Danny Jones and Brendan White. And now we're seeing that teamwork. Now we're seeing tags and moves taking place in their corner of the ring. That's what you need. And what's really interesting about this is seeing the Saviours of Destiny's approach change. Usually you see them in this sort of situation, and you know, Anita Vaughn is on her way out. She's gonna, interfere, get involved, do what she needs to do. But that's, we've seen in recent days, the Saviours of Destiny, a bit of a falling out of sorts between Anita Vaughn and Owen. It's, obviously, of course, there are 3 Saviours of Destiny. They are still very much all a team, but Anita Vaughn has one approach, and the lads seem to have an approach of their own. And it appears their ideologies are clashing a little bit, but they've made it very clear they want to do things the right way from now on, and so far it has paid dividends. But we'll wait and see. Andy Steele and Richards, to their credit, both as individuals and as a team, are definitely not the sort of wrestlers that you need to cheat to win. They've always done it because it's the easiest way to do it, it's the most secure way of doing it, but on their own merit, they haven't necessarily needed to. It's going to be interesting to see that, without Anita Vaughn, without those interferences, without the cheat, how far they can go. If they can beat the Greedy Souls here tonight, the answer to that question is very clear. The Greedy Souls, we're not just talking one of the best tag teams in Fight Factory, we're talking one of the best tag teams in Europe. As I've said, a team that's won belts all around the continent. And I think that's what I'm pointing out, are not just unfazed by the Saviours, but the Saviours are unfazed by them. The Saviours fully believe, they always have done, that they can take on anyone and everyone that is put in front of them. That's, so far it's been fairly well balanced, I feel. It's still as difficult to call a winner now as it was when it started, so they've every reason to believe in themselves. I'm intrigued by the dynamic between Owen Richards in particular and the Greedy Souls, because I feel like stylistically these teams are quite similar to each other, but Andy Steele as an individual may be stylistically a bit more different than Owen Richards in terms of how Owen Richards matches up against Danny Jones. As we've just seen there, I mean, that was some of the best that Owen Richards has to offer. Those are his strikes, those are his forearms, those are, that's the move that causes the damage. And we've seen Danny Jones throw one back, from his own end and completely wipe out Owen Richards. And it makes me believe that, should Owen Richards be able to tag in Andy Steele's approach would be slightly different, a bit quicker on the feet. And it could be something that, perhaps he might be able to outpace Brendan White, perhaps he may be able to outpace Danny Jones, but when you're in a situation like this and it's effectively 2-on-1 because you're unable to make a tag for your partner, it does of course put a huge disadvantage, much to the dismay of these fans who again are chanting bullshit, in favour of the Saviours as opposed to against them, which is again, it's taken a lot of getting used to. Danny Jones, I mean, that's at least 3 times now Andy Steele's been knocked off the apron, so they can focus on Owen Richards. But Owen Richards doing a smart thing, sending them both into each other and sending them both flying across the ring by himself. Incredible. Whoever gets their feet here first, that is going to be potentially game-changing. Particularly if it's Owen Richards. He's going to need this. And he gets it just about the tip of his fingers, but he does get it. And Andy Steele running in with the knee and running in with a forearm to Brendan White. And running from corner to corner. And this is what I was talking about. It's that speed, that quickness, the agility. Sending Danny Jones into his partner, and now we're seeing the kicks from Andy Steele. And you'd swear, watching Andy Steele tonight, that he was never involved in that war a few months ago. But Danny Jones elbows his way out of there. One thing that's noteworthy about Danny Jones is the size. You know, the height of this man. He comes in here towering over most of his opponents. And Andy Steele! Looks like he may have just knocked Danny Jones out, but Brendan White comes in for the save. And Richards getting thrown out by Brendan White, who's now tagged in. White runs into Steele, and oh, this could potentially be it here for the Greedy Souls. And I thought for a second, you know, it's very rare, you know, when somebody wins a championship, it's quite rare that they lose it in their first title defense. That's usually how it is, because, you know, you have to work so hard to get a title shot. You have to work even harder to win your title match. That, you know, usually that momentum carries on, but when you're taking all that attack from the Greedy Souls, it's not easy to maintain your momentum, and this could be it. Andy Steele still kicks out with 2. There's no question the durability of Andy Steele. There's no question the heart of Andy Steele, but again, you know, this is what tag team wrestling is all about. You know, you take these double team maneuvers, and it's very, very difficult to get out of them. You really do need your partner on his feet ready to break up those pins. Oh, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Owen Richards using one of his opponents to break up the pin. The fans appreciating this one. And a great effort shown, in particular from the Saviours of Destiny, to weather the storm. You know, there was a large portion of this match there in the middle where the Greedy Souls were starting to dominate. They were starting to take control after a hot start from the Saviours. And once the Greedy Souls take control, it's very difficult to break out of that. That's why they are the top, you know, one of the top tag teams in Europe at the minute, because, you know, teams really struggle to break them down and get back in the fight once they've taken advantage. But Owen Richards caught with that big boot. And a forearm from Brendan. Owen Richards sends Brendan White into the corner, but Danny Jones has him up, hits him with the knee. And Andy Steele comes in with the knee of his own. But Owen Richards with the spear. The action is just so fast paced. You still, at this point, you still don't know who's going to win this. I was going to say, if Owen Richards could have secured a pin there, it could have been a different story, but I don't believe he's a legal man. I think Andy Steele would still need to make the tag. But again, when the action spills onto this level and you've got everybody fighting each other as if it's tornado tag rules, you forget who the legal man is. It's what makes Fox's job so difficult. But of course, he's on top of things as always. Andy Steele. Looks like this could be it for him. No, he counters. And a tornado DDT to Brendan White allows him to make the tag into Owen Richards. And look at the quickness of the Saviours. I mean, this is something that they've gotten so much better at. And I really did think, I mean, when Owen Richards hits you with lariat, when Owen Richards is coming at you with that speed, full force, you know, it's the sort of thing that can really take a wrestler's head off, you know, both literally and figuratively. A lot of opponents don't know where they are, but they get taken out. But Danny Jones with another big boot, and that's been really, oh Jesus. A pile driver to Owen Richards. That could be serious. And Andy Steele thrown across the ring. Danny Jones has been tagged in. Oh, this is not looking good for the Saviours. And Andy Steele kicks out at 2. I didn't want to start eulogizing Andy Steele. I don't like to do that with wrestlers. I don't like to count them out before the match is over, but I really did honestly think that was it for Andy Steele, and that was it for the Saviours of Destiny, and that would be their third title run over just like that. But Brendan White gets pushed into his partner, and Andy Steele dropping Brendan White on his head. And now, oh, the backstabber, we've seen that do some damage to their opponents in the past, but that is not their finisher. That is not how they typically end their fights. They typically end it with this move here, the call to action. And that is it. Titles retained. And a tough test for the Saviours, a test of destiny, but it's a test that they have passed with flying colours. This is not a flash in the pan flavour of the month title run. This is a title run that could go on for longer than any tag teams in Europe are prepared to admit. The Greedy Souls are one of the best tag teams in Europe, and they just got flattened. Well, not flat. I mean, they weren't destroyed by the Saviours of Destiny. It took time. It took a lot of effort. Don't get me wrong. The Greedy Souls brought it. But the Saviours of Destiny came out on top because that is what they do. We call the Greedy Souls one of the best tag teams in Europe. And what are the Saviours of Destiny? The team that just beat one of the greatest tag teams in Europe at the minute. The reality is, the Saviours of Destiny are more than just a decent tag team, a good tag team, a great tag team. They are the Irish Tag Team Champions, and that speaks for itself.